Hi, this is Melanie for Pardesi. I've just come back from seeing the Tamil film starring Nivin Pauly called Richie. It's a noir kind of gangster crime thriller. It's a remake of a Kannada film. I was excited that it was opening here in Chicago the very same weekend that it was in India. And this is Nivin Pauly's first solo, completely Tamil film. He did a bilingual film called Noir that was partially Malayalam, partially Tamil. And I think he's very famous for the film Priyaa in Tamil Nadu. I'm a big fan of Nivin Pauly. I'm just going to say that right up front. I am a huge fan of his. First saw him in Bangalore Days. Love him in Priyaa and Om Shanti Oshana especially. And I've seen several of his films. He's done a lot of family dramas. He's great with romances. So here's trying something really different. He's trying a gangster noir kind of role. This is a debut director, Gautham Ramachandran. And he worked with Nivin Pauly on the script. They worked on it together. It's a remake of the Ulidavaru Kandanthe, if I'm saying it correctly. So I have not seen the Kannada original film, so I cannot speak to how they might have changed what was evidently a very popular, successful film in this adaptation to set it in Tamil Nadu. I can just give you my impressions of the film that I saw, this Tamil film, coming into it fresh. It was a very stylish trailer, and I was excited to see Nivin Pauly kind of have the swagger that he did from, say, the middle section of Priyaa, when he was the tough college student. So the first half of the film is very slow. There's a lot of setup because there's a complicated plot. Evidently, the original film, you're seeing the same events from 5 different perspectives, from different characters' perspectives. And I don't know if that device was completely carried over because, again, I have not seen the original film. The actress Shraddha Srinath plays a journalist, and so she is the framing device that she is interviewing people and writing a story about the events that happened in this town. I just have to say up front that this film was a disappointment to me. And I put a lot of the blame for that on the director. I talked to some people who also were very excited to see a Nivin Pauly Tamil film, and it came out that first night too in Chicago. And the woman in the couple said nothing clicked. It just didn't come together, the way that it was supposed to come together. And I can't help contrast it with something like Angamali Diaries that I saw earlier this year that was so amazing, and my heart was in my throat, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm not going to say that this is like a masala film that's so predictable that I knew everything. No. There is the bones of a really interesting script and a really interesting story, and overlapping confusion and not mistaken identity necessarily, but there's interlocking stories. It's not just a simple masala film. Okay, so I will give it that. But it's the way that it's executed that just didn't come together for me. And also, Nivin Pauly, I just don't know if this kind of role is suited for him. He does so well with family films and romances, and he was trying to do that kind of crazy gangster role where someone is so off their rocker, so volatile that you don't know when they're going to explode and what's going to happen, and the character is supposed to really kind of enjoy the violence. And I just don't think he came across that way at all. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And he was trying, there was a couple of emotional scenes that he did with a couple of characters, or just had a glimmer of emotion. Prakash Raj plays his father, but those scenes where he was supposed to be menacing, where you were supposed to be afraid for what he was going to do, it just didn't come across on the screen. It just really didn't. And I couldn't help contrast it with Dulquer Salman playing a gangster hitman role in as one of the 4 stories in Solo, which I thought was one of the best roles. He only had one line in an entire story, in that entire short of that Solo film. And I thought he brought that menace, brought that volatility to that role so well. And it was like Nivin Pauly was trying to do something way over the top, like, I don't know, like, you know, Al Pacino's Scarface over the top. And it just didn't click and didn't work. And I don't know if the director could have given him direction to rein it in or made it more effective with the way the shots were edited or what, but just the combination of not great directing, not great editing, and Nivin's performance all together just didn't work for me. It was hard not to have really big expectations going in, because this is a, you know, this is a big Nivin Pauly film. He's doing something really different. And, you know, I wanted to love it. Okay, I'm just telling you, I wanted to love it, and I just didn't. There were things that were positive. There was another actor who played another supporting role. Natarajan Subramaniam played a supporting role, and I thought he was quite good. The music was decent, and there was a couple of scenes where they were doing this tiger dance, and I thought that was visually so cool. And Nivin Pauly was in kind of the middle of these tigers, and it was sort of the symbolism of the hunter is the hunted. And there was also a young actor who was supposed to play a childhood friend returned. I think he was a brand new actor. I have been trying to find his name. In the opening credits there was something like, and introducing, but I didn't remember, you know, and I can't find on the internet what this guy's name is. He was okay. Prakash Raj, who I normally love in every film, I felt like he was phoning it in. He had just a few short scenes, and he did not have the impact in those scenes that I normally expect from him. Let's just put it that way. You know, I mean, there was an interesting dynamic there with, he plays a priest, and his son is a gangster, and what happened to get them to that place. It was confusing to me, like, okay, is he a Catholic priest with a son? Did he go into the priesthood after marriage? I mean, it was really unclear to me what the story was with that. But he seemed to be a Catholic priest. And then there was a whole other layer of religious symbolism and a missing object, and I really was not getting what all that was about. I mean, I got that the overall themes were friendship, betrayal, forgiveness, but this object and how it related to gangsters, it was over my head, I guess. Maybe if you also see the film, maybe you can clue me in to what that was all about, because over my head. Bottom line is, I'm not going to spoil the plot. Like, there were some interesting things about the plot. The way that it was put together was a problem for me. As the person that I talked to said, it just didn't click. And it's disappointing for me to say that Nivin Pauly did not make a good film, because I really wanted this to be good for him, and for him to be able to stretch and do something different. And I just don't know if it was just this particular role, or if just this type of role is not going to be a good fit for him. And, you know, sometimes you have to just try something, and it doesn't always work. Let me know if you see the film. I would love to know your comments. If you saw the original Kannada film, were you disappointed in this adaptation? Did they change things about it that made it not work, that worked in the original? I'm really curious about that. And if you saw it, what did you think of Nivin Pauly's performance? Did it work for you? Was it just me? Or did it work for you? If you like this video, please share it. if you subscribe and press the bell, then you'll get a notification whenever I do a new video, a review, or a trailer reaction. And follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Pardesi YT.